Retrospective. I'm your host, Werezilla. As much as I hate to say this, I feel I must. The X-Men series has clutched onto the conflict ball since its conception and has refused to let go to this very day.
What was either pure brilliance or pure laziness, one of Marvel's most influential franchises that would affect the entire Marvel Universe as a whole was the creation of the X-Men, a series revolving around a team of mutants, basically people born with superpowers, dealing with evil mutants as well as bigotry from humans.
And while it's obviously meant to be an allegory for racism, homophobia, that kind of thing, it has the unfortunate implication that the Marvel Universe, you must absolutely conform to ideas, or you're not worth living.
But the forced conformity ideas aside, the X-Men actually do have good ideas put forth. And given that they are a team of heroes with an ever-growing number thanks to the whole concept, there's plenty of stories that can be told. However, there's also a problem that's cropped up over the years: the increasing popularity and focus on the character Wolverine. This is very apparent in the films, where it feels more like they're about him and everyone else is along for the ride. Not helped when a certain cartoon came out back in 2009, Wolverine and the X-Men.
Think about that for a second. And while you are, let's take a close look at the show itself, starting with the opening theme.
While I wouldn't call it as iconic as the 90s theme, it's alright for me. It's probably for the best that it's an instrumental theme too. And unlike Spidey's show previously, this one actually does set a mood of isolation and gives the impression the X-Men are completely surrounded. So the show opens with a three-parter, Hindsight, which starts with an explosion that destroys the Xavier Institute. The X-Men survive, but two of their own, Jean Grey and their mentor, Professor X, are missing. Cut to a year later, and only Wolverine and Beast are still hanging around. However, after an encounter with the MRD, a group of mutant SS officers...
I'm not exaggerating, these MRD guys drag mutants off in the middle of the night just for being mutants and putting them in containment camps. Subtle.
He decides to reassemble the team. In part 2, they manage to get Iceman and Kitty Pryde on board, but Angel's too closely tied to his mutant-hating father, and Cyclops is still broken up over the loss of Jean. Keep in mind that Wolverine doesn't even bother trying to be pleasant to Cyclops like the others, which will be more important later. Rogue is also approached, but she has inexplicably gained abandonment issues towards Wolverine. Why? Since when was Rogue so closely attached to him? Instead, she joins Quicksilver and the Brotherhood of Mutants, and even sets up the X-Men, making it look like they tried to assassinate Senator Kelly, the guy running the MRD.
Which brings up a question. Rogue, you plan on trying to get her back?
Nope. Not after she hung us out to dry.
Way to feed fuel to the fire, Wolverine. In part 3, Emma Frost approaches the X-Men, offering to find Professor X for them. She uses their mutant detecting device, Cerebro, and discovers he's on the island of Genosha, the home of their old enemy, Magneto. This is enough to convince Cyclops to join back up in hopes of finding Jean as well. So here's Wolverine's plan: Zerg rush Magneto and get the Professor back. It goes about as well as you'd expect. However, before Magneto can welcome the X-Men to die, he decides to show them the Professor, who's in a coma, and then willingly returns him to them. The Professor telepathically contacts the X-Men, revealing that his coma will last 20 years, and that in the future, the mutant-hunting robots, the Sentinels, will lay waste to the world and that the X-Men are dead.
Only as a team do you stand a chance. Only together can you change the course of the future. And you, Logan, you must lead them.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Professor, you just showed the future is at stake, and you put Wolverine in charge? It's like you want the future to remain the way it is. But I know why this is being done, however. Let me put it to you like this.
When a series has a team of characters, there are bound to be ones with bigger fan bases than others. This can result in the character getting more screen time. And sometimes they'll decide that, if the character isn't already team leader, they're going to make said character leader, even if they are completely unqualified to be so. This is one such instance. Wolverine is a loner, acts like a snarling, caged animal, and is not very charismatic. It's like Rogue said.
No one can follow a leader who's never there.
Anyway, with the threat of a robot apocalypse, more members of the team start returning. Storm returns, and then does fuck all for the entire show, getting taken out of fights before anyone else. Yes, the one who can control the weather contributes nothing. Nightcrawler, on the other hand, gets his own subplot, first getting a ship full of mutant refugees to Genosha, then befriending Magneto's daughter, the Scarlet Witch, and discovering Genosha isn't the paradise it's made out to be.
This is your paradise, Magneto. You've imprisoned your own people.
Imprisoned is such a harsh word, Nightcrawler. They are being detained, reoriented, until they understand what Genosha really is.
Considering that Magneto himself is a Holocaust survivor, holding people against their will should probably touch a nerve with him. Seriously, what's with this show and the Nazi allegories?
In the episode Future X, we see the professor meet the surviving mutants led by Bishop. It's here that the professor learns about the Sentinel's master, a computer program called Master Mold, which, as Wolverine sees in the present, is the name of a program Kelly's chief mad scientist, Boulevard Trask, is currently working on. So the race is on to stop Trask and Kelly before they can activate Master Mold and bring about the end of the world. In the episode Battle Lines, Rogue reveals Magneto has plans to goad Kelly into war, and naturally, being a former teammate, they believe her and get to the bottom of this. Oh no, wait, I'm sorry. Wolverine locks her up over what happened to the pilot, and by the time they act, the MRD have already been attacked by the Juggernaut.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
And the human-mutant relations are even worse. Actually, I probably should have saved the Picard reaction for this next part. In Excessive Force, Cyclops learns the villain Sinister might be holding Jean Grey prisoner and runs off on his own to confront him.
Give her to me! Now!
Xavier's prize student, the teacher's pet. If only he could see him now. So angry, so unwilling to think.
Really? Two at once? Alright.
Look, I'm very grateful for everything you've done for me. I really am, but I'm through with all this.
Unfortunately for you, it's not really an option.
Naturally, Sinister doesn't have Jean, and this was all a trap. So why did I bring this up when it was basically a filler episode? Well, that's because this is when the show reveals its true colors.
Sure, I'm glad you're alive and all. But you and me, we got a problem. You got a choice to make, Summers. Be an X-Man or don't, because this garbage ain't gonna fly with me. You wanna go chase ghosts? Fine. But if you're gonna be here, be here. Xavier wouldn't kick you out. But don't think for a second I won't.
She's out there. I know it.
Then go look for her. On your own. Because you're either one of the team, or you're gone.
That could be the most hypocritical thing that Wolverine has ever said within the history of his character's existence. Lo and behold, everyone, Wolverine and the X-Men is glorified fan fiction.